Um, I wanted to again just wake up this morning and just encourage you. Today I'm not on a run at the beach. I'm actually just walking this morning. But I want to just encourage you, as I mentioned yesterday. Yesterday we talked about what? We talked about being, taking care of the small things, right? Being just attentive to the small things, and faithful, right? Faithful with the small things, because what does he say? He tells us if we're faithful with the small things, he will bless us. He will bless us with more, right? And we'll be able to come into the house and share in the blessings of the Lord, the happiness, the joy of the Lord. So today you have another opportunity to do that, right? We have another opportunity to do that. And but something else I was thinking about this morning, as I was reading in Genesis this morning, Genesis 32, where it made me reflect on, well, what do we do when those blessings come? Or what if we're struggling with the fact that, man, I've been doing these things, Lord. When is the blessing coming? And you just kind of feel, maybe just a little stuck, a little frustrated. And so it takes me back to thinking about Genesis 32, when Jacob wrestled with God, right? He wrestled with God. You think about that, right? He wrestled with God, but guess what? That's what we do, right? He wrestled with God, and it got to the point he was wrestling all night, to the point where it says the man that he wrestled with was done. He was done. He was like, I'm done wrestling with you. And he touched Jacob's hip, popped it out of place, and told Jacob, I'm done. Let me go. And Jacob said, I'm not going to let you go until you bless me. I'm not going to let you go until you bless me. So he was committed. He touched his hip, it hurt. It popped out of place. He now walked with a limp. But he said, I ain't letting you go until you bless me. So are you committed? Do we have that type of commitment where we know, Lord, what you told us? You told us. You promised us. You said that it's impossible for you to lie. And I'm doing everything. I know I ain't perfect, but I'm holding on to you. And that's what you said. That's all that I have to do, Lord. You said is just hold on to you. And if I hold on to you, you told me what? If I draw near to you, you will draw near to me. You told me, you said what? The desires, right? You said if my heart, Father, is in your hand, right? If my heart is in your hand, you said you've never lost anyone, right? If I delight myself in you, you shall give me the desires of your heart. That's what you told me, Lord. That's what you told me. You told me meditate on your word day and night, and everything I touch shall prosper. You told me these things, Lord. You told me without faith it is impossible to please you. I know these things. I'm being faithful in these things. I'm not perfect, but I'm as perfect as you want me to be, because you're the one in control. You're the one forming me. I'm the clay in your hands. I'm your work. You said, Lord, you said you are faithful to complete the good work in us. So I'm exactly where you want me to be. But I know you called for more. And so I ain't letting you go until you bless me. You've given me vision. You showed me the things, Lord, that that are possible. Like, you put these desires in my heart. I know there should be more. I'm not letting you go until you bless me. So if that's our commitment, he can't help. He might pop, he might touch that hip. It might hurt a little bit, right? Are you willing to hurt a little bit? Are you willing to hurt a little bit? Because then after that happened with Jacob, what did he do? He said, all right, you know what? What is your name? Not that the Lord don't know Jacob's name, but he asked him, what is your name? And he said, my name is Jacob, which means supplanter, which means, the one that's behind. And he said, your name is no longer Jacob, it's Israel. And what does that mean? What that means is one who contends with God, one who prevails with God, right? So you are now a new person. You're not standing behind. You're not the one behind. You prevail. You prevail with me. What is your name? This is your name. And then Jacob asked God, well, what is your name? And he said, he didn't answer him. He didn't answer him. He said, why do you ask my name? Why do you ask me? You know who I am. And he just blessed him. And then he blessed him. And so I just wanted to share that with you this morning because two things. One is don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. But trust that his promises are true. Know what those promises are. And if you desire those things with all your heart, because he put the desires in you, he put them in you. He says, delight yourself in me, and I shall give you, put in your heart, my desires. He put them in you. And if he put them in you, then he's also going to provide you with the resources, the energy, the faithfulness, the heart, the people, the angels. He's going to provide you the finances to bring those things to light. He's going to provide. Those are his desires for you. So what are the desires that he's given you? What are the desires for your family, for your kids, for your husband, for your wife, for your mom, your dad? What are your desires? What are the desires for your community, for your church? What are your desires? What are those that he put in your heart? Are you in touch with those things? And do you have that to the point where it just keeps you up at night sometimes, where you could just taste it and failure is not an option? Are those the desires that you have? Are you wrestling with God? Well, guess what? Just let him know, I ain't letting you go until you bless me. I'm not letting you go until you bless me. Right? And he will. And he will. And he will give you a new name. It won't be who you were. It's going to be who you are and who I've created you to be. Right? So be that example. And one of the things that's going to help in that transformation, if you guys are in a position or in a situation where it's a financial thing, it's a time thing, because many times it's time. Many times it's finance. Many times it's both, because if we don't have the finance, then you don't have the time, because what? You got to check in with someone for 10 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours a day and give them all your time. And then how much time do you have left to really the passions, the gifts, the talents that you have to be able to nurture and nurture those, grow them to make your mark on the world and on society the way he's called you to. because you're giving it all to someone else, right? So it's time and it's money. If you had the finances, you wouldn't have to do that, right? You'd have more time. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. We all have 24 hours in a day. And if you want it that bad, if you have to give that time, you give that time. And then the time that you got, you're going to make sure you're going to make the most of that, right? Make the most of that. And prayerfully, you know, you're doing the things that do make the most of it, right? Again, and that's a whole nother thing. But again, prayer, exercise, eating right, and, you know, and then, so those are the core things, meditation, those are the core things. But then, like, knowing how to knowing what to put your time into so that you're getting the greatest return for the result that you're looking to get, right? And so what I talk to people about when it you know, as far as building wealth, when it comes to building wealth, like, the key thing in building wealth initially is financial independence. Financial independence. Financial independence is not being wealthy. Financial independence is getting your time back so that now you have the time. You're not depending on having to check in somewhere. Like, your standard of living is covered by the things that you've created so that now you can put your time and energy into the other things that allow you to build wealth, or into more of those things that you've created so that they can now just stack on top of each other and build wealth, right? So time, right? So if we all have the time, and we got this thing that he gave us to create, right? Again, this temple, he gave us this. He created us in his image, right? And if we're in his image, we're the only, I mean, animals can't create, right? We create. And what I mean by create, we birth ideas that build houses and build cars, and, you know, we birth ideas that make roadways and fly to the moon. Like, we birth ideas. What did God do? He spoke this world into existence. Spoke it into existence. Right? And so he gives us that. He created us in his own image to do the same thing. Right? So what I want to just say is, so what we're doing is what I'm doing. If you need your time back, it's about finances first, right? And with the finances, one of the things I'm doing starting tomorrow is I'm doing from Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 3 days. I'm going to be showing you how to get that time back. I'm going to be showing you how to have the finances without a whole lot of time, without the need for a whole lot of resources, without the need for a whole lot of experience, to be able to get the finances. And how do we do that? We do that with starting and growing your $5,000 to $15,000 a month Airbnb passive income without owning property. The same way I do, the same way my students do, the same way all my kids do. My students, I've helped over 1,000 people all over the world to do that. And I want you to be able to do it as well. So if that's important to you, having the time, having the financial resources so that you can nurture those gifts, those passions, to make your mark on the world and on society, so that you can build that legacy, have more time to spend with your loved ones, your kids, your grandkids, right? Your nieces, nephews, whoever, your loved ones, your husband, wife, but to build legacy with those kids, right? To maybe be able to just help family members who really need it. And we all have some, or have had some at some point, right? At some point. And that's a whole nother story, because I know it. I mean, that was part of my major transformation, you know. And if you go and you've heard my story, you know, like way back when, you know, I got this phone call from my mom talking about she was dying. And I was the oldest of 3. I was hundreds of miles away trying to get a college degree. First one in the family trying to get a college degree. And now my mom calls me and tells me she's dying. Single parent household, living in poverty. What do I do? Like, I got to take care of my younger brother and sister. If mom's dying, what's... And so I had to wake up, grow up, and get serious about life real fast. And by the grace of God, he transformed me. He used that to transform me, to get out of that poverty mindset that it can't be done, that I can't be wealthy, that I can't take care of my family, that I'm gonna have to live below the standards of what God called me to. He used that. So, helping family members who really need it, being more of a blessing to your church and your community, right? And changing some of those generational cycles. We talked about that. I talk about that all the time. We all have them. We all have them. What are we teaching our kids? What are we teaching our kids? Showing them a lifestyle where, and I hate to say it this way, but they're technically in servitude, right? They're in servitude for most of their life to get a check, to just be able to pay the bills so that they can get up and do it again, to build generational wealth for someone else. Although God created them with the same ability to create. What are we teaching them? Now, we're doing what we're supposed to do, which is give them the best that we got. And if that's all we got, and we're doing our job, but we know better. When we know better, I had to recently tell my son, you, like, some of the things we taught you were wrong. I had to recently tell him that. He said, yeah, but Dad, you guys sent me to good schools, private schools and things. How come the teachers didn't teach us that? He was talking about wealth building concepts regarding, you know, savings and things like that. And I said, son, if the teachers knew it, they wouldn't be teaching you. They wouldn't be in the schools. He said, oh, you're right, Dad. So, like, what are we teaching them? You know, changing those generational cycles so that our job as parents are what? To give them even greater opportunities, right? We want them to be better than we were. And so that building generational wealth, what does the word tell us? It tells us a good man leaves an inheritance for his children and his children's children and his children's children's children, right? So generational wealth, not just where we just ball in ourselves, right? Where we, no, generational wealth, and there are principles behind that. And then what? Travel. When was the last time you took a trip? And when you took that trip, how long did you have to plan for it? Could you just get up and go if you needed to? And why did you have to come back? Was it because you had to check in? And did you have to ask somebody to go? Right? And, what about your kids? Are they going to be doing the same thing? Right? Were you able to bring someone along? right? How often can you do that? It's funny. A lot of us. I used to be. That was a long time ago, but a lot of people, put it that way, a lot of people just live for the weekends. Live for the weekends. Can't wait till Friday's coming. And man, and you know, I get to kind of now do this thing. I got Saturday and Sunday. Like every day is your time. Don't belong to nobody else. Every day is your time. So having your time. And then what? Again, being able to nurture and grow those gifts, those talents, those passions, so that you can really, really make your mark on the world and on society where you're called to. That's what this is about. So join me. Inside the link in my bio, there is a link to the waitlist. The waitlist, if you're looking for a full transformation of your finances to get your time without a whole lot of experience and the need for a ton of money to get there. You don't need LLCs to do this. No. I've been doing this stuff. I've been doing real estate for over 30 years, made millions of dollars. Been doing Airbnb for 7 years about. Made millions of dollars in that space as well. My family and I, we have just under 100 listings between New York and Florida. Haven't been to one of my places in over a year. Right? Because when you do this properly, it's not complicated, it's simple. You have to learn to keep it simple. And I'm gonna show you that. I'm gonna show you that. And then all those things that we talked about a few moments ago, which is what? Being able to have that time, build that legacy, generational wealth, helping family members, church in the community, changing generational cycles, nurturing those gifts. You're gonna be able to do that. You're gonna be able to do that. I'm gonna pull the curtains off so you can see how this stuff is really done. And then you can implement it yourself. So join us on the challenge. Click the link in my bio, and I'll see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. God bless you.